What's the craziest thing that has happened to you live on stage? Okay, so we had 10 dancers with me.
Reba McEntire is known today as one of the most respected and successful names in country music, but her journey to the top was not always simple or smooth. She built her career step by step, starting from small performances and slowly reaching the biggest stages in the industry. One of the most important places in her journey was the Grand Ole Opry, a stage that has shaped the careers of many legendary artists. For Reba, performing there was not just another achievement, it was a dream she had since childhood. However, as she got closer to success and began sharing space with some of the biggest names in country music, things became more complicated. Moments that should have been happy sometimes turned uncomfortable, and relationships that started with respect sometimes became tense. While fans mostly saw her success, there were many hidden stories behind the scenes that revealed a different side of her rise to fame. These stories were not always about arguments or direct conflicts, but they showed how difficult it can be to grow in an industry filled with strong personalities and long traditions. Even though Reba was known for being kind and professional, she still found herself in situations where misunderstandings and pressure created unexpected tension. Her journey proves that success is not only about talent but also about how you handle difficult moments with grace. Reba McEntire's story began in Oklahoma, where music was a natural part of her life long before she became famous. She grew up in a family that loved singing, and she often performed with her siblings at local events and rodeos. At that time, music felt more like a family activity than a serious career choice. After finishing high school, she planned to become a teacher and continued her studies at Southeastern Oklahoma State University. However, everything changed when she sang the national anthem at a rodeo event in 1974. That performance caught the attention of a country artist who helped her record a demo, which later led to her first recording contract. Even though this seemed like the beginning of a successful career, her early years in the music industry were full of challenges. Her first songs did not perform well, and it took time before she finally found her place. In the early 1980s, she started gaining attention with hit songs, but she still felt she did not have full control over her music style. This changed when she made a bold decision to move to a different record label and focus on traditional country music. That decision helped her define her identity as an artist and brought her closer to the success she had always wanted. As her popularity grew, her connection to the Grand Ole Opry became stronger, and she slowly became part of the circle she once admired from a distance. By the mid-1980s, Reba McEntire had finally reached a major milestone when she was invited to join the Grand Ole Opry. This invitation meant that she was now officially recognized as part of country music's most respected group of artists. For her, it was a proud and emotional moment, but the night of her induction did not go as smoothly as expected. During the same event, a legendary figure, Hank Snow, was scheduled to perform. However, due to time limits on the broadcast, he was asked to shorten his performance. For someone who had spent decades building his reputation, this request felt disrespectful. Instead of agreeing, he chose not to perform at all and walked away from the event. Even though this decision had nothing to do with Reba personally, it created an uncomfortable situation on a night that was supposed to celebrate her achievement. She later expressed that she felt uneasy about the situation because she deeply respected artists like Hank Snow and never wanted to be part of anything that made them feel unappreciated. This moment showed how difficult it can be to balance tradition and change in the music industry. Reba represented a new generation, while artists like Hank Snow represented the past, and sometimes those differences created tension that no one could fully avoid. Another complicated moment in Reba's career involved her friendship with Kenny Rogers, one of the most famous names in country music. The two shared a strong bond, especially during a difficult time in Reba's life when she lost several members of her band in a tragic plane crash. Kenny supported her during that period and helped her return to work by involving her in one of his projects. Their friendship remained strong, and they even planned to record a duet together. However, things did not go as planned in the studio. The song they chose did not match their vocal styles, and after several attempts, it became clear that the duet was not working. Instead of giving up on the song, Reba decided to continue the project with another artist, Vince Gill. The problem was that she did not inform Kenny about this change. When the song was released and became a big success, Kenny found out the same way the public did. This led to an awkward moment when they finally met and discussed what had happened. Although he accepted her explanation and forgave her, the situation showed how even small decisions can hurt relationships when communication is missing. It was not a story of anger or hate, but it was a clear example of how misunderstandings can create tension even between close friends. There were also stories about possible tension between Reba McEntire and Dolly Parton, although nothing was ever confirmed directly by either of them. In the early years of her career, Reba admired Dolly and looked up to her as one of the biggest inspirations in country music. During one of her first performances at the Grand Ole Opry, Reba even gave up part of her stage time so Dolly could perform, showing her respect and admiration. However, as both women became major stars, their paths often crossed in ways that led to rumors of awkward moments. Some of these stories were connected to their shared friendship with. Another situation that showed the challenges of working in the music industry involved Reba's collaboration with Vince Gill. Even though they worked well together and created successful music, there were still moments of frustration behind the scenes. One example was the filming of a music video for their duet, which turned into a long and tiring process. Reba was known for wanting everything to be perfect, while Vince preferred a simpler approach and did not enjoy spending too much time on video production. The shoot lasted several days, which tested his patience and created some tension between them. However, this was not a serious conflict, and both artists continued to respect each other. It simply showed how different personalities can sometimes clash, even when the overall relationship is positive. These kinds of situations are common in creative industries, where people have different working styles and expectations. For Reba, it was another lesson in balancing her vision with the needs and comfort of the people she worked with. In the end, Reba McEntire's career is not just a story of success but also a story of learning, growth, and understanding. The tensions and misunderstandings she experienced were not signs of failure but part of the journey that shaped her into the artist she is today. She managed to maintain her reputation as a kind and professional person despite facing difficult situations. Instead of allowing these moments to define her, she used them as opportunities to learn and move forward. Her story reminds us that even the most successful people face challenges behind the scenes, and what truly matters is how they handle those challenges. Reba's ability to stay respectful and focused on her work helped her build a legacy that continues to inspire fans around the world. While the stories of tension add an interesting layer to her journey, they also show her strength and character. In a world where conflicts can easily become public drama, she chose to handle things with grace, proving that true success is not just about fame but also about how you treat others along the way. As Reba McEntire continued to grow in her career, the pressure around her also grew stronger. Success in country music is not only about singing well or having hit songs, but also about fitting into a world that has deep traditions and strong opinions. The Grand Ole Opry was not just a stage where artists performed, it was a place where generations of musicians shared their ideas about what country music should sound like. When Reba entered that world, she was stepping into a space where older artists had already set the rules. These legends believed in a certain style of music, one that focused on simple instruments, strong storytelling, and emotional singing. At the same time, the industry itself was changing. New audiences were coming in, and country music was slowly becoming more modern. Reba found herself right in the middle of this shift. She respected the old ways, but she also wanted to grow and try new things. This balance was not always easy to maintain. Some people saw her as a fresh voice who could bring new energy to country music, while others felt that change could take away from its roots. This difference in opinion created quiet tension, not always spoken openly, but felt behind the scenes. Reba had to learn how to move forward without losing the respect of those who came before her. It was a challenge that many artists face, but for her, it became an important part of her journey. She realized that success often means walking a fine line between honoring the past and creating the future. Learning to handle criticism and expectations. With fame comes attention, and with attention comes criticism. As Reba McEntire became more popular, more people began to watch everything she did. Every performance, every decision, and every collaboration became something that others could judge. In the early days of her career, she focused mainly on improving her voice and building her confidence on stage. But as she became a well-known name, the expectations around her changed. People no longer just wanted her to sing well, they expected her to represent country music in a certain way. Some critics believed she should stay closer to traditional sounds, while others encouraged her to explore new styles. This created a situation where no matter what she did, someone would disagree. Instead of letting this pressure stop her, Reba chose to listen carefully but still trust her own instincts. She understood that not every decision would make everyone happy, and that was okay. What mattered most was staying true to herself and continuing to grow as an artist. This mindset helped her stay strong even during difficult moments. She learned that criticism is a natural part of success and that it can even help you improve if you use it the right way. Over time, she became more confident in her choices and less worried about outside opinions. This ability to handle criticism with calmness and maturity became one of her greatest strengths, allowing her to build a career that lasted for decades. The importance of professionalism in difficult moments. One of the reasons why Reba McEntire remained respected throughout her career was her strong sense of professionalism. Even when she found herself in uncomfortable situations, she made sure to handle them with care. In an industry where small misunderstandings can quickly turn into big problems, her calm approach helped prevent many issues from growing worse. For example, when tensions arose with other artists, she rarely responded with anger or public criticism. Instead, she focused on understanding the situation and finding a way to move forward. This approach did not mean she never felt hurt or frustrated, but she chose not to let those feelings control her actions. Professionalism also showed in the way she treated her team and